Yeah, hit me with an 11, dog.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Need a knife like I need a wife. I don't need a knife. I don't need a knife.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the program. Sports program live. We are live on a Sunday today. We couldn't get together yesterday, but that is all right. Joining me as usual is Fleetwood Zach and Home Run Jack. I like that those rhyme. At Home Run Jack 1987 on Twitter. At Derek on TSPN on Twitter. At Quack Swan on Twitter. Today we're here to talk to you about sports and maybe the lack thereof.
Yeah, probably mostly the lack of this.
More the lack thereof. But we are back and it's exciting. I always like that we get to do this. And I like that we get to do this from 3 different towns in 2 different states. That's just plain wonderful.
The future.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm going to start this off by saying time to talk about all the sports that aren't happening.
Yeah, we probably should kick it out of the gate with that, right?
Is everyone okay? Are you okay?
I don't know if I would call it okay. It's honestly, I'm truthfully bummed out. And then of course, I work in a job where this whole like the COVID-19 thing, the whole coronavirus is like affecting my job. So that's been super annoying. I've been fielding emails that I would care to never field, and it's been super frustrating. But so normally in something like that where I would be frustrated, I would hope to have sports to have my back. Right. And I feel like I'm not getting that right now because I'm not.
See, so for some of us like me, like MMA was the one thing that just kept going, right? Like everything else is gone. And then MMA is like, well, we're just not going to put anybody in there. Like these dudes are trying to punch each other in the face as many times as possible. I think they're okay with risking it. And yesterday the fights were great. I almost like barely noticed the no crowd thing, except for that they kept bringing it up. The best part of it was when Michael Bisping, who is the color commentator for the smaller events, after one of the fights, he goes, "Everybody make some noise," and then he realized that no one was there. But he just like
forgot.
He's like he's so trained him like because he's new to color commentating. He's only done it for less than a year.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
So he's just training himself, right, to say the same thing every time. And it wasn't very valid, which was awesome. And he got butchered on Twitter afterwards, even by the UFC. Like, even the UFC's Twitter page was making fun of him for it. And you could tell he was self-conscious about it, so I loved it. Shout out to Michael Bisping, huge fan of the show. Loves the show.
Yeah, he hit me up today. Said good luck.
Yeah, did he?
Oh yeah, he texted me personally.
That's awesome. I didn't know you guys exchanged numbers.
Yeah, I mean, it was at the last UFC.
Yeah, but
you were there.
You met Michael the Count Bisping. I just call him Mike. Or the Count. He doesn't really.
He actually prefers the Count.
Yeah,
he prefers the Count.
I actually bet he does. Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I think I don't know how we don't all have. Well, for you, Derek, we could have it be your like WWE name, but I think we all need to establish fighter names for the show.
Oh, I like that. My WWE name though would
already have one.
Oh yeah.
What is it?
I always thought if I was going to be a wrestler, I would be Derek, the Pride of Idaho Knoll.
Okay.
The Pride of Idaho.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So my niche would be where everybody thinks people from Idaho are like prairie, like backwoods people. I would come out as like a Connecticut blue blood and act like I'm the only one from this state who can read or write.
Yeah.
And if I ever went and toured like the world wrestling, every state that I went to that was like Idaho, you know, that they have a conception of being like backwoods, I
Yeah.
would act like I was the only one from my state, so I must be the only one from their state.
That's
You
so
have
good.
really put a lot of
I could
thought.
read or write. Man, I'm one of those stupid fucking idiots that if you asked what he wanted to do when he grew up till the age of like 16 or 17, I said professional wrestler. Like that's what I was going to be.
Yeah, like when you were 12, you were probably like jumping off your bunk bed onto your friends.
Oh yeah, my sister and I made belts.
Yeah.
We had a trampoline at my friend's house. We did wrestling in the backyard. If you watch like those like documentaries about the wrestlers who became wrestlers and you watch all that backyard stuff, like I did all that. I legitimately thought I was going to be a wrestler. I thought it'd be cool. I didn't want to do a ton of physical stuff. I more wanted to be on like a microphone. Realistically, I probably would have been a better valet. I would have been a better like Paul Heyman type guy.
Right.
Where I just talk trash and then had somebody who is way better than me at fighting. But I still thought it'd be, if I ever did become a wrestler though, I also liked the rated R superstar Edge, and I liked CM Punk, and I like how both of those two guys would like find sneaky ways to win the title. Like they would always be like sneaky and never win clean. And I always thought that would be me. Like I would draw anger from the crowd by winning in ways I should not have won.
See, not only do you have like a nickname and backstory, but you just have like the whole you have like the roadmap.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. But I loved wrestlers like that. No man, I loved Roddy Piper in the old days. I loved Edge and CM Punk. They always called Edge the ultimate opportunist. I always loved that. I love that. Eddie Guerrero, remember he'd lie, cheat, and steal. Anything he'd do to lie, cheat, and steal to win that title, right? Man, I fucking loved that gimmick. I thought that was hilarious.
Good old Eddie.
Man,
Forgot about
his heart exploded.
Yeah. That's
that whole gimmick he had where he would lie and cheat and steal to win the title was hilarious. Like there was one bit where he brings a chair into the ring and then he throws the chair into the arms of whoever he's fighting, and then he falls to the ground like he got hit by the chair to get the other guy disqualified from the match, and he had to keep his title.
That's genius.
Yeah.
I love that.
Oh yeah, I love that gimmick. That's hilarious to me. Plus, yeah. I'll throw out there. I obviously from what I'm telling you, I wanted to be a heel. I only would ever want to be a bad guy.
I could have guessed that.
I don't know, man.
I feel like in real life though, every heel wants to be a face.
Yeah, like maybe. I mean, I think The Rock wanted to be a face, but obviously he got his most success in the beginning. Like after he was Rocky Maivia and he came back as like The Rock and joined like the Nation of Domination, they finally gave him a microphone just to let him talk. And he talked about how much he hated the WWE universe. And oh man, The Rock as a heel was the absolute best.
He is just the best.
Yeah, he really is.
He's a total beef castle. Let's just be real.
I love
President The Rock.
I follow him on Instagram, and I love when he just gives his motivational.
Yeah, me too.
Fucking gotta work.
Well, and
me too. I don't do any of it, but
no. I don't have time.
In times like these, I just wish he was here to just hold me like a baby.
Well, this is actually a really nice little segue here, because I think the last big event right now that has not been canceled is WrestleMania.
No, it was canceled, wasn't it?
No, it's not canceled yet.
Oh, I thought I saw yesterday it was.
It's on. It's supposed to be on April 5th at the Buccaneer Stadium.
Yeah.
With a crowd of about 70,000 people. What they're saying right now, and what WWE's released, is that it will happen in some capacity. I've read some other stuff online. I have an idea what they might do. And I think it would actually be fine if you've watched NXT. Zach, I know you've watched a little NXT. So you know how it's from the Full Sail University in Florida.
Yeah.
And it's a smaller stadium. It's where the young people go, and the stadium probably fits like, I mean, what do you think? 100 people, 200 people?
Right. It's, and that's what the UFC's transition to also is fighting at the Institute in Las Vegas.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's what they do, is they cancel the plans for at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stadium and instead switch to Full Sail University where they can have a smaller crowd of people, because you still need to have, like, of all these sports that like, because NCAA, like the March Madness is canceled. But they were complaining about playing in a stadium with no people. But the people, like, they make the games more exciting, but really you don't need them for basketball. Where in wrestling, that crowd is absolutely one of the characters on the show. You need them to chant "You suck." You need them to chant "John Cena sucks" when his song comes on. You just need that crowd. Imagine, like, Zach, you watched Royal Rumble, right?
Yes, I did. We were texting back and forth.
Right. You remember when Edge came out?
Oh, dude, me and you were so jacked.
Oh, but so is that crowd, right?
Right.
And they have terms for the crowd in wrestling. So when Edge came out, the crowd popped. It was electrifying. Like that's what those terms come from. Man, the crowd popped because when he comes out, they do that countdown, 3, 2, 1, and then Edge comes. You think you know me, and then that Jesus Christ, that crowd just went nuts, and that's part of the show. Like, it's absolutely part of the show. If you can do it at Full Sail University with even 200 people in there, at least it's something. It's not as good as the stadium.
I honestly don't think it'll happen. I think absolutely anything that involves a crowd at all is going to be canceled. Like, it just is. I'm surprised a lot of this stuff made it this far. Next week, they couldn't figure out what to do for UFC London, so that one's actually canceled. And then the remainder of them, so UFC Portland and all the other ones, are moving to the Institute in Las Vegas, where opposite of wrestling, I don't think the crowd's a problem. If anything, there was like no early stoppages, so the crowd plays into what the refs are doing in the UFC. So like the refs will stop a fight too early sometimes. Like the guy's not knocked out yet, but the crowd's like, "Oh my God," and freaking out. And so the ref's like, "I got to stop this guy from getting hurt," and he stops the fight, and it's a TKO. And then the guy on his back is like, "No, I was fine. I was never knocked out." And then they complain, protest, whatever. That didn't happen at all yesterday. Like, the refs can truly focus on what's really going on right in front of his eyes, because there's no crowd manipulating him to stop the fight early. So
yeah,
kind of nice.
That's sounds like they should just switch to a robot.
I know.
A robot ref that won't have that kind of crowd momentum or just a hologram. Well,
the problem is in the refs it's actually funny how similar it is to wrestling. Like, the refs actually touch people. That's the thing. If someone's getting their ass kicked and the refs they're not defending themselves anymore, even though they're conscious, that's a TKO, right? So you should stop the fight. And usually what you have to do is the ref has to throw his body or her body. I keep acting like it's always a guy. It's definitely girls sometimes. Throw their body in between the two people punching each other to stop a fight. That happens all the time.
That's kind of scary.
It is, but yeah. They've been hit. They've been hit. Another thing that happens a lot is when people get knocked out, they don't realize they were ever knocked out. As soon as you come to, you think it's the split second you got knocked out. You don't even realize that time period happened. So people they'll come back to being conscious, and they'll start wrestling instinctually. So you'll see refs get wrestled sometimes, they're trying to get away from the action, and then all of a sudden the guy wakes up and grabs their legs and tries to take them down because they don't know what's going on. It's the funniest thing ever. 3 funniest things in MMA is when someone tries to wrestle a ref, someone tries to wrestle their opponent still after they got knocked out, or when a girl shits their pants. And those are the 3 funniest things. And people don't realize how much the girls shit their pants. It's all the time.
When they're in the fight.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's someone who's really bad at it. Her name is Betch Correia. Okay. She's from Brazil, and I thought she was fighting yesterday, so I was really excited. One time she fought Ronda Rousey, and Ronda just dominated her. But she was wearing light gray shorts, and I'm like, oh my God, that girl just shit her pants. And
why do they shit themselves?
Yeah, Jinx, owe me everything.
I don't know. I always like to just imagine that Ronda just squeezed the life force out of him, but because she had those like judo tosses, right? And I just imagine them getting judo tossing, going oh, and then hitting the ground.
Don't get me wrong. I'm always like a cough or a sneeze away from shitting my own pants, but
Yeah, amen, dude.
Yeah, but like, so if you're one of those people, can you imagine someone like literally judo hip tossing you to the ground and then putting you in a submission? Like, you're not worried about stopping yourself from shitting your pants. You're worried about stopping the person from arm barring you and taking your arm off, which is like always the fear with Ronda. But so I paid attention to that fight, and then the very next fight I saw, I'm like, oh, that was the girl who definitely like dumped her pants out on the Ronda Rousey fight, and she did it again the very next fight. I was telling someone how she did that, and then she did it again, and I was like, and she was all emotional afterwards because that was her second big loss in a row, and so she's
Second
like,
big shit.
she looks like she's crying, and it's like watching someone cry while they've clearly dumped their drawers is.
oh no.
Well, how do they? Do you think they can smell it? Obviously, right?
Oh, they know they shit themselves at that point. I just don't think that that's like number one priority for them.
I'm talking about the people around them.
Oh, everyone knows that person dumped out.
Well, I just don't want them to come. I don't want them to. You know how they like interview them and stuff after? I don't want to.
Oh, yeah, but it's kind of like standard now never to interview someone after they've been knocked out because we've learned through the Betchkaya and Daniel Cormier.
Daniel Cormier. Oh,
So
man.
sad. Don't interview someone after they got knocked out. They're in a
Stop.
They always cry and they always say stuff that they say like, if I would have been fully conscious, I wouldn't have said that stuff. So it's like they just don't do it. Like,
yeah.
The one thing you don't want to do is go up to someone who just dumped out and is crying and got armbarred and then say, hey, how you feeling right now?
How those drawers?
Hey, yeah. Looks like you
Looks like
you dumped yourself, bud. It's pretty bad.
You didn't shit before the fight.
So tell me, Daniel, did that go as planned? Also, you reek of shit.
Yeah, I did that. So the 6 months leading up to the fight, when you were dreaming of holding the belt in your hand, did you ever think about the alternative, which is you getting knocked the fuck out and dumping out in front of millions of people? Is that something you thought about? Just asking.
Is that something your coach prepared you for?
Yeah. So I have
What
to
type
ask.
what type of preparation does it take to get into a match like this? For instance, like what's your training regimen, and do you focus on not shitting your pants? Because I feel like you did not do that today.
Yeah. Actually, I spent 6 months in a cage simulating, just not jumping out in front of millions of people.
In my garage.
Yeah. So and moving forward, are you planning on maybe wearing Depends in the future? Just
So, if they know that this is a problem, why don't they try to do pregame shits, pre warm up shits?
Oh, I've heard, because I love that this is the topic today. This is exactly
with it.
This is exactly
this is what No Sports does.
Yeah. So if my mom's watching, yeah, we're talking about dumping out of your body. Yeah, no, so I don't think it's super pervasive, but I mean, definitely some chicks have done it. Like I've seen a couple guys do it. So what I know is the weight cut, right? Like these people are cutting 30 pounds to fight at the weight class they're in. That's really what does it. Like you're on a liquid diet for a couple of weeks. So can you imagine what that would do to you? Like they had to even dehydrate the shit out of themselves to make the weight the day before. And then they have 24 hours to drink as much fluid as possible to get back up to their normal weight. Like, I'm pretty sure that's just pure Pedialyte coming out of their bodies.
Gross.
Yes.
Next topic. Sorry.
On the topic of like not interviewing people after it's so like in the XFL when they interview someone after they just had a shitty play, like
right, we talked about this before. It's super true.
Don't talk to them right then, like wait, give it a second.
Well, at least it's not over the loudspeaker anymore.
Well, yeah, because it was like, hey, McGloin, you just threw your third interception of the game, and the New York Guardians are moving you to the bench. How you feeling right now? I'm feeling like a dude who just threw his third interception of the game, and the New York Guardians are moving me to the bench right now.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
And then in the old days, they had over the loudspeaker, hey, so you just tore your ACL. How do you feel right now? Oh, it hurts. My career is over. Okay.
Oh, so we haven't done a show. We did a show right before last week's UFC fight, so there's actually been 2 since. The co-main event, which was the title fight for the girls.
Oh, yeah, last Saturday.
115. Joanna, I'm sure you guys at least saw the images on the internet of what Joanna's head looked like.
Megamind?
Yeah, Megamind.
Mm-hmm.
She looked like Megamind. Have you not seen this, Derek?
No.
Google it real quick, or someone just pull it onto the stream.
I'm Googling it right now.
So she looks like Megamind, and she didn't get knocked out. It was a very back and forth fight. Even one of the judges had Joanna winning. She ultimately lost because, there was just pure power getting dropped on her for 5 rounds. But not only are they saying it's the greatest 115 female fight we've ever seen, they're saying definitely the greatest women's title fight ever. Definitely the greatest women's fight ever. It was one of the greatest fights I've ever watched.
Was that good? Because I really liked, and I haven't watched a lot of UFC, but I did watch the Ronda Rousey Holly Holmes.
Yeah,
I watched that fight, and I thought that was awesome.
That one was fun because there was a knockout. This was like 5-minute rounds. So imagine 2 people dropping. I think there was over 600 total strikes landed. So over 600 punches exchanged by these 2. Just like amazing. Like it was a majority kickboxing match most of the time. No ground game. Oh my god, man.
No.
Just the before and after of Joanna's head, man.
Yeah, man.
So she's probably the most technical striking female fighter ever, and then
she looks like she has Zika virus.
And then Wei Li is just, I haven't seen anything like her at 115 pounds. She would beat the shit out of any of us.
She looks like she has Zika virus.
I don't think I would never get in an octagon with either of these 2 ladies, but I would say hands down it was not only the greatest female fight I've ever had, because people always want to make the distinction, right? This is the best band with a girl singer. I'm like, why does it fucking matter like who it is? Like if it's the best fight of all time, it's the best fight of all time. Don't say best female fight of all time, because it's up there in top 3 for me as one of the greatest fights I've ever watched.
So the other girl did she just pick her apart then and just took her?
I would say it was pretty 50-50. You could have picked either person as the winner. The problem with the UFC right now is if you currently have the belt, you have to destroy that person to get it from them. Like you can't win a point match, like a point decision. You have to absolutely dominate them, or you have to submit them or knock them out. We saw it with the John Jones fight like a month ago. John Jones lost that fight, but they because the refs weren't completely convinced, they just gave him the title back. And it's like, who scored it that way? Like, there's a huge problem with scoring right now in MMA. Like, most of these guys are boxing judges, which means they don't know a fucking thing about MMA. And they're the ones in charge of these guys' careers, right? Like, the title holder makes so much more money than the person challenging for the title. And you're messing with people's money, first of all. But like the Houston card that John Jones was at, every single ref was a boxing ref. It was terrible. This one was a little better. I truly believe that Wei Li deserved to keep her belt because Joanna didn't convincingly win. But then the title fight, the other one that was right after it, the Israel Adesanya, Yoel Romero fight, most boring fight I've watched in a really long time. Neither of them went after each other.
Main event, right?
Huh?
The main event? The
one Adesanya basically won by leg kicks. Like in 5 rounds, all he really did was land more leg kicks than the other guy, where at least Yoel was that crazy dude, the super bulky monster muscle guy I showed you guys last week. He at least went after the dude's head a couple times, but it was super boring. And it was like, to compare the two, Adesanya landed about 12 strikes a round, where the girls landed a couple hundred strikes a round. Like, it was just 2 completely different fights. So it was like the co-main event really stole the show. And so, and all the other fights were good leading up to it. Like, every fight was good. Co-main event, best women's fight ever, top 3 fight ever, period. And then the final fight, which everyone thought was going to be a banger, was just nothing to write home about.
And then you said this has been 2 different ones since we last met. So is this the first one or the second one?
That was all the first one. Yesterday was the one with no crowd. Yesterday was the one in Brazil with no crowd at all. And then like Michael Bisping commentating, forgetting that there was no crowd and saying, everybody make some noise. That was yesterday.
Yeah, come on.
And
he meant well.
Yeah. But that card was awesome. I mean, ESPN moved it to actual ESPN from ESPN Plus because they're like, we can't keep showing Sports Center for 12 straight hours every day right now. I mean, all Sports Center is right now is them announcing that another thing's canceled, right? And then hypotheticals on where Tom Brady might go. That's it. So the fact that they were able to move all 6 hours of the fights yesterday to ESPN just made my day. Like, I watched the entire thing beginning to end, no breaks.
That sucks because I could have logged into Sling and watched it.
Yeah, and it was if you're like a don't watch a lot of them casual fan, yesterday was like the perfect one to watch because there was a lot of action, a lot of knockouts, a lot of submissions. The final fight between Lee and Oliveira completely lived up to the hype. So Oliveira, the guy who Brazilian who won, he's 30 now, but he's been in the UFC forever. Like, I remember him being in it when he was like 21. So he seems like he should be retiring soon. But then they point out the guy's only 30 years old, and he's like added a whole new dimension to his game. Before he was like a guy you would probably hate, Sean. He's like a ground guy. And he like
boring fights, man.
So the only reason he's not is because if he gets you to the ground, he does submit you. So it's kind of fun, actually. And it's always something different. Like, for example, yesterday, there was one transition where he literally did 3 different submission attempts in probably 15 seconds, like 3 completely different types of submissions. Yeah, he just kept rolling into something else. And you're like, wow, this guy's cool. But what he's done in the last couple of years is he's learned how to knock people out. So he's actually finished like 6 straight fights now. And because of that, Lee, who the Motown Phenom, that's his nickname, the Motown Phenom for Lee, which is a ridiculous name. I love it.
I like that too.
Because he's from Detroit, right? So it's like perfect. So Lee, who is like a collegiate wrestler, I believe, was like, I'm going to wrestle him. Why would you wrestle a dude who can submit anybody from his back? Like, so he stood up for a while, looked like he might be starting to win the standing up exchanges. And then he went for a takedown because his wrestling background in his head just triggered, like, I got to take this guy down. They don't even think. They're like completely acting on reflex at that point. He grabs the guy's leg, takes him down. Oliveira immediately puts him in the guillotine and knocks him out, like submits him. And he's like tapping on his shoulder. And if someone taps on your shoulder, you won, you just let go. And as soon as he lets go, Lee looks at the ref like, I wasn't tapping, I was doing something else. Like, tried to like say that he didn't just tap, like panic tap a bunch of times. And he contested it. It was bizarre to watch. Like, I was like, did he actually get knocked out from the submission and he doesn't remember tapping? Or is he truly trying to cheat right now? I had no idea. But it was like the most blatant tap I've ever seen someone like pro.
Wow. Weird.
But the rest of the fight card was good too. I mean, this one, as opposed to other ones, like a lot of the ESPN Plus card, they have some ranked guys, but they really save the ranked guys for the pay-per-views. But yesterday probably had like 7 or 8 ranked people in different weight classes. So it was pretty awesome for just a free one they're throwing on TV. That's why it would have been a good one to watch if you're just like a casual person, because it's going to introduce you to all the up-and-coming ranked people. Like the people that are ranked like 6th or 7th or 12th that might be number 1 in a year or two. So I think that was a lot of that yesterday.
Yeah. So it's still a good watch, though. No crowd.
No crowd. No people crap that I saw their pants. So it was that's
unfortunate.
Well, I mean, that's why I tuned in for 6 straight hours. But
like sometimes will shit themselves.
Sometimes we don't get what we want. But yeah, that's Michael Bisping talks so much. That's why I love him. But he talks so much that you didn't even notice. He was aggressive. If there was a knockout, if there was a submission, he's like screaming into the microphone. So
like super excited.
Yeah, he's because he's definitely still transitioning to the color commentator role. He's only been retired from fighting for like a year and a half, 2 years. So yeah, you can still tell he's a little bit of a fan. Like he gets a little too juiced up watching it. Like he might want to just get in there and punch someone in the face. So
like Tony Romo.
Like Tony Romo. Yeah, Tony Romo is still very much in the game,
Yeah, which I love. I actually I follow his schedule, not the 49ers schedule anymore. I follow
what Tony's doing.
Yep.
That's interesting. I like that. Because, everyone that loves Tony Romo thinks he's the best color commentator in the world, any sport. But then there's like this very small other group that thinks he's terrible. Like they hate him. There's people that genuinely, and I think maybe they're just like lifetime Cowboy haters.
They have to be because
Because they're like, he's terrible. He sucks. I like Chris Collinsworth. And if someone says they like Chris Collinsworth,
Said no one ever.
yeah, but I have people that I see on like a regular basis that are like, Chris Collinsworth's pretty good, man.
That's insane.
People don't understand
They're wrong.
that. People don't understand, like, Collinsworth and even Aikman are pretty underrated. I'm like,
Ugh.
Aikman. Ugh.
is a joke, yeah.
Ugh.
So are we moving into football?
I think that's the
Yeah,
perfect-
let's do it.
and we call that a segue. I was
So
told to look into the camera more.
I did,
like it.
yes.
Yeah.
Hello.
They're like super aggressive, and they call that
Yes.
a segue.
So I got some stuff written down, boys. So trades are happening. And
Signing,
one of
yeah. It's the tampering period right now where people
Yeah.
can say they're signing.
So Josh Norman got traded to the Bills
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
for 1 year, $8 million.
And it's the perfect fit because they're the best young defense in the league. Let's add a veteran who can't be a number one corner anymore. But they got him on the cheap. And if he's your number 2, number 3 corner, that's perfect for him right now.
So $8 million on the cheap, huh?
New
So-
NFL, baby.
So I heard that they think owners are going to strike in the next season, or is that something you guys have
Nope.
heard?
So as of today,
Or is that
With
what
the-
that thing was about?
as of the collective bargaining agreement being signed today, it brings a 10-year piece to the force, 10-year piece to the NFL because they don't have to do it again for 10 years. So pretty
Okay.
good article right now on ESPN. It's So NFL CBA approved what players get in the new deal, how expanded playoffs and schedule will work. So definitely worth reading. It was pretty close on the vote that they had. It was 1,019 to 959. So yeah, I mean, I could see why people would be upset because it just barely happened.
Yeah.
So let's see. The new CBA will expand the NFL's playoff field by 2 teams starting with the 2020 season and allow owners the option to expand the regular season from 16 to 17 games as early as 2021. So I'm assuming that would mean one less
Wow.
preseason game, one more regular season game, which is going to piss off the NFL traditionalists, right? Like the people that are like, but that means old records are irrelevant because there's one extra game to boost the stats, right?
Stats.
But that's already happened before. There used to be 14 NFL games. And what's crazy is like some of like these records, like Jim Brown's still in the top 3 rushing, and
Yeah.
the dude played 14 games a year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So just be better running backs.
but yeah, now we'll see. Like Drew Brees has like as many 5,000-yard passing seasons as every other quarterback put together. Now we're gonna see like people average 5,000 yards passing a season, things like that.
So what? You think Drew's going to throw for 6?
Well, Drew's only got one more year left, but yeah, Drew's numbers have definitely tapered off in the last 2 years.
He had
Like,
a
he's
huge-
still-
he had a huge year this year though.
Well, but he missed 6 games, so I don't know if like I think
Oh, yeah,
I
he did, huh?
think resting Drew Brees for the playoffs is going to become a new standard. We might see Drew sit a game or 4 if they're comfortably in the.
Well, I think the Saints will just keep getting fucked by the refs and me laughing and them just not making the playoffs.
Absolutely amazing. Well, and that division's going to be tougher this next year. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds weird to say, but Tampa Bay is going to be a better team. Atlanta's going to be a better team. And then they're all going to just beat up on the Carolina Panthers because they
Yeah.
are going
Oh,
to
yeah.
be
Panthers
bad.
are doomed.
Yeah, and it seems like the Panthers are okay with having a bad season. They just don't seem like they're like, we got to keep winning. They're in a rebuild, and I think they're okay with it. I think with Tampa, it depends what happens with Jameis Winston. If they bring him back, there's no way they're a playoff team.
Well, he got that he got that eye surgery.
Is that supposed to make him better?
Well, yeah.
Who's that now? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Jameis
Winston.
Winston.
He got eye
Okay.
surgery.
I don't think anything in the world can make Jameis Winston throw less than 30 picks.
Well, I don't know, man. Maybe because of his eyes.
But I don't think he's coming back, by the way. I really don't think he's going back to Tampa.
Whoa.
Oh, we lost Derek.
I'm still here.
Oh, your picture's gone.
No, I know.
Okay.
I just like that photo.
You're just trying to show off.
I actually kind of think we should do a whole
It'll be
episode
back.
where it's just like a picture. You can hear our voices, but it's just a picture.
I mean, I can edit that in post.
I just figure anytime I want to blow my nose or wipe my face or whatever, I can just go to a picture like that and
Sure, that's what you were doing.
Well, yeah. So that's the thing is, I'm gonna fucking just blow my nose into the fucking.
So I like all the rumors about Jameis Winston like going to the Patriots or something. I like all the speculation around Jameis.
Well, so on top, okay, fine, but let's talk about Tom then.
So
Yeah, let's talk about Tom.
in my opinion, he either goes. I know he's not going to the Niners. Titans already moved on and re-signed Tannehill, and they actually said yesterday they were never interested. Which good. Tannehill's not that old, and I don't know why they gave him.
And he had a great season.
I don't know why you gave him $118 million, but
I did not see that, and
that's
that
what
is
he made.
Ridiculous. He is
Yeah, I
not
see
making much money.
I see on Pro Football Talk. Yeah, the Niners are no.
So Niners, I didn't even know that, but I just knew that, you know.
Oh,
what I mean?
it's on PFT, man. You gotta trust Chris, man.
So
why would you even think that? They have Garoppolo, who is a young Brady. You don't need him.
well,
You
yeah,
don't
I just
need
don't.
old Tom.
And you were just in the Super Bowl. Why? I don't understand why any of these teams would transition to Tom Brady for 1 year, except for the LA Chargers, who are transitioning off another old quarterback. They're going to need somebody for a year before they start to rebuild because the rest of the talent is there. That team has tons of talent.
Those two running backs are insane. Gordon and
Eckler's already back for sure. Eckler's already back for sure. I don't know what's going to happen to Uncle Melvin. We'll find out.
How old is he now?
Like 28, maybe.
So he's good. He's still got
2 more years, probably. Once you're 30, you're definitely done. I say once you're 29, you're definitely done.
If you're not Frank Gore, you don't have that longevity.
Yeah, I would say that's funny. Your icon of you setting that, Derek, actually, since I'm screen recording, will just show up in the.
Oh yeah,
it's just gonna show up in the video, and I'm like, I'll edit it in post. Don't worry about it.
yeah, it's fine.
No, it's fine. I'll edit it in post. No, yeah. If you're not Frank Gore, there's no other running back playing in their 30s. That's just not ever happening again. But so that makes sense. But ultimately, I think after the Titans just blatantly admitting they weren't interested, I think this officially means he's gonna take whatever the Patriots offer him and go back home.
Yeah. Why would they? But why would they? Their problem wasn't Tom.
No, and that's why they said this is what we're giving you. Take it or leave it. And now I think they're almost forcing Tom to say, well, shit, I might have to take it.
He should just take it anyways.
He should. It just doesn't make sense to me in any way, shape, or form to go, I'm 42, I'm just going to go play somewhere else for a year. When the team that I'm already on gives me my best chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Any other team that is interested, it's a harder road to go all the way. Except for maybe like Indianapolis.
They get a receiver and they're fine.
Exactly. Like, I don't know how you don't trust Belichick to take care of you as far as putting pieces around you. It's not like he's so old and stubborn that he's going to be like, oh, yeah, I know what our weakness is and I'm not going to try to improve it. Like, he drafted N'Keal Harry in the first round last year. Like, he's obviously trying to fix it. It just, Harry didn't work. So...
wasn't he though? He was injured though, wasn't he?
And he was hurt a lot of the year, and people were already saying he was a bust, but I truly don't believe that. So give him another year, maybe bring in another veteran. Like, you'll figure it out.
And that's the thing is, hey, Josh Gordon had his shit together.
Right.
AB isn't batshit crazy. That team may have just been the Super Bowl champs. They had those two receivers.
Right.
Man.
Yeah,
it's hard to know what would have happened if they would have had both of those guys.
Yeah.
Right. Antonio Brown could have ended up being their saving grace, right? Like, it looked pretty good for one game.
Oh, yeah.
You know, isn't it funny how Antonio Brown in the offseason just tried really hard to apologize to the Steelers?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you see all this stuff like, I didn't know how good I had it in Pittsburgh. It's like, what if that dude just all the way cleans up his act? Would you guys take him back, do you think?
I mean, as a fan, I would take him back.
Yeah.
If there's any organization to go, you know what? This guy's batshit crazy, but we also really don't care. It's the Steelers.
Yeah.
Him and even though Le'Veon Bell didn't have an amazing season in New York, I would take him back in a heartbeat as well.
Wouldn't it be funny if they just put the whole gang back together and it just worked?
Yeah, man, the Killer Bees.
And they just win. Well, don't say that. Those jerseys are ugly.
Yeah.
Those jerseys. Every time I see those jerseys, I get fucking mad.
The Bumblebee.
I get so fucking.
You don't like it?
No.
I know people who have bought them.
Well, those. People,
I know a guy who bought one.
They're
Yeah.
wrong. They're
They are
wrong.
wrong.
Believe it or not, I actually own zero jerseys. I've never bought a jersey.
Really?
A long time ago, somebody bought me a Barry Sanders jersey, and I still have that somewhere.
And then everyone thought it was a Sanders 2020 and got
Mhm.
mad.
They thought you were voting for Bernie, and they hated you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
No
I'm not
one
listening to Garth anymore.
Yeah, fuck you, Garth.
Yeah. You're not about what I'm about, you queer.
Is Garth a Bernie guy?
No, he wore a Bernie Sanders jersey while
Barry
he was
Sanders
playing in
jersey.
Detroit, and everyone thought it was a Barry Sanders jersey, and everyone thought he was supporting Bernie Sanders because Barry Sanders' number was 20, and he's just wearing a Barry Sanders jersey because he's in Detroit. And people there,
The people were so stupid they did not realize that.
yeah, man. So that's one thing that we haven't even talked about on this show yet. That happened about 3 weeks ago now. It's just absolutely hilarious.
That's so sad.
It made me happy.
Yeah,
It made me happy that people hate Bernie Sanders that much.
it was interesting.
To be that, just no.
Especially in Detroit. Like, how do you not know?
Yeah.
I don't know how you don't get that. Like, yeah. No, but he knew what it meant. He was making a statement.
He was. He absolutely was. 100%.
Yeah,
what
that's
were we-
hilarious. I think
On
he
the
was
top-
trying to I think he was trying to pander to Detroit.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. I think.
I mean, what I wouldn't watch the starting line at Warped Tour years ago, and he was wearing Kenny was wearing a Seattle Seahawks jersey.
Right.
He's
When
not a
he's from Philly.
Seahawks fan. He's
When
from
he's
Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an Eagles fan for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, but he was still wearing the jersey, because he's in Seattle.
Just trying to be fun. Just trying to.
Yeah.
Well,
Give a
I
little-
saw the starting line this summer, and he was definitely wearing a Phillies hat,
Yeah.
and it was amazing.
Fuck
Yeah,
yeah.
actually, real quick, not sport related. Did they play any Vacationer songs at all, or just only?
In Warped Tour, no. I mean, it would have been totally fitting, right? Like California. I mean, the dude
Yeah.
literally has his own strand of weed in California called Vacationer, I'm pretty sure. And
I just feel like if they would have played a Vacationer song, it would have suited well.
no, but they did play 3 songs off of what is it, Island, the last album.
Which is the one that a lot of people didn't like,
It's
and I
a
actually really
sleeper,
liked
though.
that one.
It's a
Yeah,
sleeper
I-
album, and
Guess what, boys?
you don't
You
like
don't
it?
like it? I love that album. I
Yeah,
love
so-
that entire album.
What's it called? Somebody's Gonna Miss Us. That song, which they turned into like the name of their final live album.
Yeah, which I
Uh,
love that song.
So yeah, he's like, this is a song off of the final starting line album. He's like, the best little starting line album that was ever made. And then everyone in the crowd didn't know the words. And then he's like, this is called The Best of Me. And then everyone just goes
And then everyone knew the words.
and then everyone
Direction.
absolutely ape shit.
You guys,
Direction, though. That's the name of that
Direction,
album.
yeah, and Island is
I
their
actually love that album, though. I
Island
really
is the
do.
song, though, yeah.
I just can't get past how good the first one is, man.
Or the second one.
The second one's amazing.
That's my
Bedroom-
favorite.
Is it
album.
Bedroom Talk? Is that what
Yeah.
that album's called?
Yeah.
So okay.
I love that
Man.
album.
I'm a purist, man. That first album and then the acoustic EP that came out before.
Sure.
If anything, the acoustic EP is actually their best work.
Drive
I mean, it's hard. I have a bias here. The starting line is probably my second favorite band. Zach knows that. I mean,
You already know.
so I mean, they're my second favorite band probably of all time. So I liked all the albums they did. I even loved the new stuff that they put out when they've tricked the world into
They were
tricked
making
the
a
world
comeback.
into saying that they were going to do a band. A reunion and make an album. They ended up doing like 3 songs.
Right.
But one of the songs in there is called Luck. God
Right.
damn, that is such a good song.
That's a good song too.
You
Yeah.
know what, Derek? I'm gonna give them the good. Well, so I guess we're not talking about sports right now.
No,
So
at the moment.
on the topic of
Well,
the
there's no
starting
sports to
line,
talk about.
the Front Bottoms is a band.
Yep, love them.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I hated them,
But now you love them,
but then I gave them the good old college try yesterday.
and you love them.
I'm in.
Talent of the Hawk is one of the greatest albums ever made.
Your wife loves them.
Yeah. Yep.
Like she loves that band. Because I remember I mentioned I liked one of the songs off one of their albums, and your wife was like, "Oh yeah, I love them." And she was wearing a shirt. She was wearing a Front Bottoms shirt when she was up here.
So this week they just announced Jimmy Eat World, the Front Bottoms Turnover
Oh
Tour.
my
That are
god!
after all this mayhem's over.
So are you?
I would
ready?
love to see Jimmy Eat World
Are
again.
you ready to be the most bored you've ever been watching Turnover play live music?
Oh, dude, I've watched them 5 times in the last 3 years. Yes, it's terribly
and
boring.
It's so boring. They don't even look happy. And
No, it's because they're not happy.
Well, yeah, but man, it's
Their lyrics, no matter what the song sounds like, it doesn't matter what the melody is, they're the most depressing band ever.
Jimmy Eat World though is one of my favorite bands of all time.
Yeah, you said earlier, starting line maybe your second favorite. Is your number one Alkaline Trio? Or is it
that is tough. So I mean, it's got to be Blink because that's like the band that got me into like pop punk. But then it's the starting line, and then Alkaline Trio is easily in the top 5, and so is Jimmy Eat World. And then I would say probably rounding out that 5 would probably be Newfound Glory.
Not the Used.
Newfound Glory.
You mean this- you
like
mean
for
this right
pop
here?
punk.
You mean this up here, guys?
Yeah, oh yeah. For pop punk, I would say Newfound Glory. I mean, the Used is in my top 5 favorite, or in my top 5 favorite bands.
Well, that's what we're talking
For
about.
pop punk, though, I would say, yeah. I mean, I still love the Used. I still love that band. I'd say for pop punk, though, I mean, I spent more time listening to, and also I gotta throw in at least a shout out to the music I was allowed to listen to, which is Reliant K.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was allowed to listen to it, and so I really liked it, and therefore I still really like Reliant K.
I was allowed to listen to whatever the fuck I wanted to. Thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
my mom,
I'm glad you didn't grow up religious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, it was just
There was no God in our house.
so. Yeah, I got to listen to whatever I wanted, and that's because single mother with three crazy kids.
Yeah.
So my mom was like, I don't give a fuck. Just
Yeah.
leave me.
So I would come from the similar single mother with 4, and I would say my mom just didn't have time to know what all 4 of her kids were listening.
yeah, she just couldn't put.
I
all
probably
that
wasn't
in.
allowed to listen to any of that either. If
Yeah.
she would have heard it, she would have been like, "What is?"
At a certain point, so we started with like Reliant K. I knew who Blink was. I listened to them. I had a couple CDs, but it was those ones that I had like kind of hidden. Like I just didn't let her know that I had them.
Oh, yeah.
When I finally let her listen to a couple of the songs, I started with ones that was like Stay Together for the Kids and like kind of those like deep for them.
The more ballady.
Yeah, and my mom
artists,
was like, "Yeah,
if it
this is
means that much
okay."
to you.
And then I just kind of kept the other ones like secretive. I never let her hear like the live album, Mark, Tom, and Travis show, or else
Oh,
I
God, yeah.
never would have been able to listen to it,
My mom knew I had that album.
which is a great album.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. My
Not on
dad.
Spotify.
No,
My
it's
dad-
hard to find.
Why
It
is
is.
it not on Spotify?
I don't know. I have the CD still.
I don't. I might actually.
It's so good though. I actually bought that CD twice. It got stolen out of my car, and I bought it a second time.
My dad took me. I bought it in Pocatello before moving up to Lewiston at FYE. No, it wasn't. It was not FYE. The other place, the other CD store in the malls.
Sam Goody.
Sam Goody. Yeah.
Never forget.
Never. Yeah.
Never
But is there anything else about football? I mean,
Yeah, so we never even finished this. I think that Tom goes back to New England no matter what. But what
Yeah, I do
y'all
too.
think? You guys, yeah, okay. I was like, you guys never shared your opinion.
Yeah.
no,
At this point, I feel like New England's the only fit, really.
It's the only. Well, no, LA is also a fit, but will it happen? You know what I mean? Like,
Nah.
does he really want to go play against Pat Mahomes twice a year
No, you don't.
after Pat just won a Super Bowl?
they already don't want to play them once a year.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
You have to avoid that game at all costs.
I don't want the Niners to ever play them again.
I mean, until the fourth quarter, y'all were winning that game
I don't want to talk about it.
convincingly.
Yes, I thought about the other day and I cried a little.
Hey,
So,
I've been through Kyle Shanahan.
Oh yeah.
Plays. I've been through.
You
I've
know
been-
the pain.
I've been through this pain far more tragically. The other day I was at the gym, and they're not showing new sports right now. So guess what they fucking showed? They showed the Falcons Patriots Super Bowl while I'm trying to work out, and I'm like, well, like all adrenaline from my body was just sucked out.
And then you couldn't get an erection for like a week, right?
Well, that's pretty standard.
Well, then not only that,
That's pretty boilerplate, bud. But,
not only that, while Zach was watching that game, one of his great friends was tweeting that entire game.
yeah, so I'm sitting at my house, like I'm like everyone else. So my buddy other Sean was like, "Congrats, man!" He left my house at halftime. He goes, "Congrats, man! You guys won a Super Bowl." And I'm sitting, and everyone else is just drinking beer, eating wings, having a fun time. I'm in front of my TV like this,
Just like
and
it's
people
not
are like,
over.
"Why can't you just like be happy?" And I'm like, "There's no happiness when you're the Atlanta Falcons defense in the second half of a game. They're
Yeah.
like that year they were like statistically the worst for points allowed in the second half of any team, and they made the Super Bowl somehow." And I was like, also like Kyle Shanahan will find a way to just plow us in our little butts. And then he did. He was like, you know what we should do? We should not run the ball and let's pass the bunch.
My best tweet during that
But
game
Darren
was
was tweeting the whole goddamn time about how the comeback was going to happen.
So my best tweet during the game is at the last touchdown Atlanta scored. I tweeted something along the lines of, "Hey man, wow! I think if the Falcons could get at least one more touchdown, they have a real shot of winning this game." Just joking. I was joking. I didn't even know what kind of defense the Falcons had in the second half. I'm making jokes, and all of a sudden I watched that collapse, and I was heartbroken. I'm making the joke in jest.
Yeah.
Right, because it was the first time in my life where people were like rooting for a team that I liked because I'm like a Falcons and a Spurs fan. So like no one ever does that. But it was like people weren't Falcons fans that year. They were anti-Patriot fans, right? Like everyone was either a Patriots fan or an anti-Patriots fan, which means for that game they were like, hell yeah, Falcons, let's go. So I'm getting like all these like random messages from all these people. And then all of a sudden it's like it was like someone fucking died. Like the next day, people were like, "I'm really sorry for your loss, man. Like, super sorry, super apologetic. Thoughts and prayers, man. Thoughts and prayers. You're gonna get." Someone literally messaged me and they said, "You're gonna get through this."
Oh no!
So it was like, even if I didn't feel that bad, people didn't let me feel okay about it. Like I had no choice. Like I went to school the following Monday and people were like, "Man, you must be pretty fucked up right now." And I'm like, I'm actually okay. Because
Actually, those tweets though that I was sending, that actually kind of what spurned this show. Because we hadn't started this show yet, and we started the show within that year. We talked about those tweets. We ran into each other, talked about those tweets, and then we talked about sports in general, and it was like, hey, we should start a show.
Right.
I had been wanting to start a sports show for a while, but didn't have a co-host lined up at all.
Yeah, I mean, basically that, and then like me and you in the halls kept talking about LeBron James because it was when he was playing for Cleveland.
Yeah.
And so that really was what started it. But yeah, man, it was crazy. Like, so the other thing about being a fan of a team that does this collapse, I'll really like let you guys behind the curtains. I'll let my wall down for y'all. It didn't even feel real. Like it was such a bad collapse that when I'm watching it, I'm like, this world isn't real. Nothing means anything. Like there is no God. Like we're all just ants in an anthill, man, and it's chaos. And then the next day, people were like, "Yeah, that sucks," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't even know that was a real game. Like I don't think that really happened." And then like 6 months later, I wake up in the middle of the night like, "Oh my God, we lost the Super Bowl."
So I have that similar experience. It's Emmanuel Sanders, just like right there.
Right.
Just come on, little buddy, you're almost there.
Right. Come on, Jimmy.
Seal the deal.
A little bit shorter of a throw, Jimmy. You
It
know?
was. I mean, it was perfect, man. It was.
You thought it was?
I thought it was a perfect ball, man. Sanders. I don't know if he I mean, he had to throw it out there because
Yeah, I get why the throw was placed where it was, and people just go, Jimmy just missed. That's like the thing is Jimmy just missed, and it's like
I don't think he missed. I think Sanders didn't get it done.
well, and Emmanuel was hurt up to that game, right? Like he was suffering an injury. I just don't think. And well, not only that, but he joined the team late, like from the Broncos. So it was like they just didn't have that rapport. Like remember last year before they had Goodwin and Pettis.
Yeah.
And Goodwin is literally an Olympic 100-meter runner, and that's the guy he's probably practicing throwing deep balls to.
Yeah. If that's a good one, that ball is game's done.
Instead, it's torn ACL Emmanuel Sanders, who's still quick. Don't get me wrong, but this doesn't have to do with quickness. This is flat out speed. This is a downfield bomb. They didn't get the job done.
Yeah,
but it's hard to say whose fault it was. What are you doing there?
Nothing else matters.
Oh, yeah.
Trust I seek and I find in you.
That's my impersonation of Zach.
Yeah, you guys know that shower photo of Kermit the Frog?
Was that you? Was that you?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me.
If you only play like 1 second at a time, they don't ding you.
Hold on, but you just gotta.
Doesn't matter what you do. Ah!
Who is that man?
It's Metallica.
Oh, Metallica.
Hold on, just a second. Can
I'll rock
you,
some Metallica once in a while.
Can you play it one more time?
Yeah. Hold on.
Forever I trust in who we are, and nothing else matters.
Hold on. Let's open this page here. Oh, my internet's going so.
Never care for what they know.
Okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God, this show is so much with you. A shout out to Zoom.us.
Thanks, Zoom.
We could not have done a show like this in the past.
Well, so
much better.
I was just talking about how, like we should work for a Zoom sponsorship. Zoom. A better way.
A better way.
Zoom. Is it a better way?
Better way.
No, I don't know. That's definitely not their slogan. That's just something that we say.
Oh,
For almost every company we've ever tried to get to sponsor us.
a better way.
But I was like, man, we got to work on getting some of this Zoom money. And then I was like, oh, wait. Every single school in the world, business in the world now already has it because of this outbreak. So it's like, there's no there's no they don't need to market it. They're booming right now.
I'm still wondering though. How many podcasts are using Zoom though?
Yeah, Zoom.
It's a great question.
A podcast solution.
Should we put out a poll?
Oh, I like that.
Zoom, a podcast. Write that down.
I don't need to. It's on record.
Yeah.
A better way.
You'll edit it in post.
I'll edit it in post. I'll make the commercial in post.
Oh man.
I'm just gonna I'm gonna go back and edit that scene, and it's just gonna flash Zoom the logo over our faces.
So good.
Yeah, what I want to do is take all this black space on the screen that we have and just slowly start to fill it up with sponsors we want.
Yeah, I love that. I love that idea.
Yeah. So, yeah. But also toilet paper. I only have 2 left.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Is it a competition that you obviously can't win?
No, I think it's more of just let's see what happens to Zach like 3 shows in when he no longer has any.
Okay, yeah. Are you not? Yeah, okay.
You need a bidet.
We have one. We actually have one. Our
Does
downstairs, our
does more
downstairs
than one person use that?
the bidet at my house.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't use it.
I mean, in general, though, when houses have bidets,
I don't know if I should ask Elena if both her and her boyfriend use it when he's over.
Well, why wouldn't you? Well,
I don't know. I don't know how they work. I've
I
never
don't
even
know
seen
either.
one.
I don't know either.
Next week, if you guys want, I'll do Zoom from my phone and I'll give you a tutorial.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Like I'll even try it out for y'all. Give a full review.
Live show.
Live show. Yeah. I'm like, oh.
Oh.
Well, that's just delightful.
Oh, my butt.
Oh, my freaking butt.
Yes.
Sorry.
Um,
I love this show. This is the highlight to my day.
Yeah, I like to imagine that someone just like was scrolling through Facebook and they saw it, so they tuned in and that was the only part they saw.
Mhm.
And then they just kept scrolling.
Well, no,
I think we need to get. So I was thinking though, what I need to do at this point.
Yeah.
I think I need to make Sean an admin for the page on Facebook. Get you in on this. You've always been part of the show, so why not?
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get you some of that Zoom money.
Yeah.
I have been saying though, and thank you for the feedback that I receive on a personal level and on email and on texting and stuff. I have heard from our supporters that they do really like this format. They like the three people. They think it is. Man, I've gotten a lot of compliments on what we've been doing the last 3 weeks.
That's awesome. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
I like that.
A lot of people really like what's going on right now, and I'm one of them. But I've heard from other people outside of the three of us that really like what we're doing.
Oh, I like it too. I literally I'm glad there's only a camera from here up because I'm like torqued for like hour 45 straight. It's the only time I feel this anymore.
I'm glad we can do that for you.
Yeah. I was like, had to start. I had to get back on the internet, and I'm like, we're back, baby. We're back.
Mm-hmm.
Which reminds me.
In more ways than one.
Oh, yeah. Which, speaking of penises, I started watching Dave, which is the Little Dicky show on FX. It's basically just about Little Dicky, but like 5 years ago. So it's like literally just a show that he wrote about himself. And they has a lot of great comedians like playing his friends on it. And every single joke in some way is about how Little Dicky isn't just a satirical name, but it's for real. And it's one of the best shows to watch right now. Like
he actually has a little dick.
It's hard to tell what parts of the show are like completely like fabricated and which parts are like really stuff that happened to like launch his career. Very hard to say. And it's like if you ever hear someone talk a joke about their dong, after about 6 times you doing it, you're like, oh yeah, they're just being self-deprecating and serious right now.
Yeah.
Like if they say it once, oh, they're totally joking. Like that guy's probably got a monster dong tucked away. But like if they do it more than 6 times, like we all know it's real.
That's pretty good.
It's a great show. All of the new FX shows are good. Devs, FX on Hulu. It's an exclusive FX on Hulu, so you can't actually watch on FX. It's a Nick Offerman show. Futuristic developers, kind of like a murder mystery type thing. That's the next big show, like for sure. Like as you're watching it, it's like 3 episodes deep right now. You're like, this is like the show. Devs, DEVS. Devs. It's the first time you'll see Nick Offerman be serious. He also has like long straight hair, and it's hilarious. That part's funny. But FX on Hulu, it's an exclusive. That's good. Dave's good. What We Do in the Shadows season 2 is back.
Oh my God. Is it
back? Is it on?
April 18th. April 18th.
Okay.
Oh, 18th.
April 18th. It'll be
So I guess
there's stuff
this is actually a good show topic then. What we don't have baseball, we don't have basketball, we don't have college basketball, we don't have hockey. What are we going to watch instead? This is actually a great conversation.
Well, I will say this one sports thing. Besides for UFC London being canceled next week, which I actually don't believe it will, I already saw some guy was like, Colby Covington hopped on today. He's the one who's the heel. You would like him, Derek, because he's a fake Trump supporter. He created a character for MMA. Like,
I
he
love
wears
that.
he wears a Make America Great Again hat, and people say that he's totally not like how he acts on the mic outside of it at all.
That's
like
great.
He gets on the mic and he's just like, so Kurt Angle gave him his song, so he comes out to the "You suck."
Oh, yes.
And Kurt gave that to him for his last fight. He asked for it. And so
Who's this guy?
his name is Colby Covington. Today he goes, hey, I heard Leon Edwards. So Leon Edwards is from England, and he dropped off the card next week because there's like, logistically, we can't do it in London. There's no way it's going to happen. So Colby Covington gets on Twitter today. He's just like, listen, I'll beat the shit out of Tyron Woodley next Saturday for America. He's like, he's just like, I'm doing this for America. I'm doing it for freedom. He's like, I'm sure Trump will be there to watch me and support me with the first lady and his kids. And like, he's like, I'm the hero this country needs right now. And so he's going to single-handedly make it happen. There's probably a fight every single week for the next like 4 or 5 weeks. So UFC is going to keep the world alive, and it'll probably grab some new fans. But outside of that, outside of the UFC, we are in full spring comedy mode on television.
Yeah.
So.
Good. Okay, so here's I just found this.
Is it Colby coming out to it?
Yes.
Oh, dude, put that video on.
I'm doing it right now.
And the whole crowd knew it. Like, they were ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I listened to Kurt Angle. He went on to the Arrow Hawani MMA podcast the following Monday and was like, yeah, I actually watch a lot of MMA. Colby personally got a hold of me and asked me for it. And, oh, yeah. So what's funny is he normally comes out doing the whole, like, America thing, but, like,
That's great.
yeah, and he lost his fight, but I hate him. But I'm one of those people that kind of understands he's a heel, and like it's working, and I hate him because of it. But like, I know that I'm hating him because I want to hate him. You know what I mean? Like, I will watch every one of his fights because now I want to watch him lose. And
I don't like his face.
no, and so Usman ended up taking care of him in this fight, like broke his nose, or what did he break? I think he broke a few things on this dude. But so it was awesome to get him to watch this fight, like actually just get slowly dismantled by Usman in this fight. So it was pretty awesome.
That's great.
Yeah, but
I love that he's using the entrance though. That's fun.
right, and like the dude does all of his interviews in like a MAGA hat and like,
Oh God.
yeah,
I hate it, but I love it.
no, exactly. He is a, like, even if he's doing it satirically, like, that's an awful character to want to represent if that's truly what you're not behind. You know what I mean? Like,
Right,
you're
yeah.
literally promoting shit if you really don't support that. Like, but he's doing it anyways. So, and obviously, like, the Trumps don't get it if it is satirical because they do go to his fights. So it's like, they go there and support him. So it's like, if it is satirical, like, fuck. He's in deep then. Like, this dude is in deep to make money.
On my beer reviews, do you think if I start wearing a Trump hat and stuff, I'll get more viewers?
You'll get a certain crowd for sure.
Do you think it will benefit me?
No.
Well, so if you made it into a heel, like if you just sat there and called anyone who didn't agree with you a queer, then, yeah, you probably get people that watch it and they're like, fucking find this guy and kill him. Like, I would love to read the comment thread.
Or yeah, fucking a libtard.
Speaking of that, we were talking about this earlier, but it was
Snowflake.
like, when you were a kid and you practiced wrestling with your friends, like a lot of us did, like for me, we did like pool matches where we'd like try to wrestle each other out of the pool. Like, I wonder if our parents just looked out the window and they're like, when are they going to start fucking each other? Like, oh, he's gay. Like, this is his way of letting us know he's gay. Like, he's wrestling outside with his friends. And
Perfect. And now we know.
yeah. Like, I don't have to go the rest of my life wondering if my son's a closeted homosexual. Like,
no, because they're still waiting. Still haven't told them yet, have you?
I didn't think I needed to.
Oh, well, it's nice to really. I think it's really nice when you get that confirmation.
Yeah.
I think
You know, because if you don't really tell anybody, people might tiptoe around you. You know, what I
Like,
mean?
but you just want to know like how disappointed your dad is. Like, I don't know, mine didn't last for too long, but when he was around, like looking out the window and being like, oh, he's not practicing football, he's in shorts wrestling one of his friends. Like, just like, I mean, that's probably why he left.
They're just
But
sons out there just grinding dongs.
that's probably why he left. He was like, I need a new family.
That's too good.
I need to start
Because
over.
of your
That's so
wrestling.
sad.
I need to start over. Yeah, that's a bit I've been slowly working on, but now I have the intro to it. So thanks, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
As you were saying the stuff, your mom commented on our video or reacted to it. So
Really?
she loved it. She loved the video.
Yeah. So she
There might be a delay though. She might not have heard that part yet.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's fine. She's like, is he being serious right now? I hope he's not being serious.
Thank you, Caroline. We love you.
I'm not being serious. I dog out women. Oh my God.
what beer are you on, man?
Just my second one.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm on a couple.
Yeah, I'm not that loose. I'm just feeling it right now.
I'm on a few of them.
I'm feeling the comedy.
I
Yeah,
only
me too.
brought 2 in here, and
Do you regret it?
I might go grab another.
Yeah.
My wife brought me some. I think we're actually about wrapped up though.
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
like the slowest beer drinker in the world. Like it took me an hour to drink the first one.
I do want to say one thing. Before basketball got, is it canceled or is it spoke?
Is it canceled or delayed?
Yeah.
It's delayed, but say what you're gonna say, and then I want to tell you what I think they should do with the rest of the season. I do got some goods left.
Well, the Lakers beat the Clippers last
Right.
Sunday, and that was huge.
We finished out the season by beating the Mavs, and that made me happy.
So, anyways, yeah. So, what do you got? What do you got?
Here's what I want them to do. I know they won't, but it would cure both our March Madness disappointment and the NBA season all at once. This, I think, would be the greatest thing ever
Tournament.
for basketball ratings. July, yes. July, bring back all 32 teams. It's not fair to say, like, season ends today, whatever your record is you're in. Take the records right now and seed them based off of those
Oh
records.
man,
Put
I
all 32
love this
teams
idea.
in. Let's have one play 32. Let's have 2 play 31. All the way up into the championship, and then make the championship multiple games, but don't make any other game more than like a win it.
Yeah, one and done. Just
One
like
and
March
done,
Madness.
all the way to the championship, and then do like a best of 3.
I think
God, that'd be
should
great.
I think it should be one and done, anyways.
I
The
mean,
only-
but wouldn't that be the single greatest thing ever?
That would be cool. Yeah, it would be awesome.
People would start coming out of the woodwork. Like, think about it. Like, Kevin Durant is basically back to full health. He'd be like, I'll come back for that. Like, I'm not going to wait till
Yeah.
next season. Like, we're in the playoffs now. Like, he'd just all of a sudden be healthy. Nets would be like the 14 seed and somehow like go the distance or something. The Golden State Warriors have the worst or second worst record in the league. They'd have to play the Lakers to start it out, and Steph Curry is just going to ball out. Like, that's
Well, I don't know.
I'd love to watch that. Honestly,
It would
that would be a lot of fun.
it would be nuts, man.
I think it'd be cool. I hate, and I even hate it in hockey. Hockey's not as bad, but I just hate how long the NBA playoffs are, man. I hate how
They're a
long-
whole nother season. Yeah, they're crazy
Yeah.
long. It's
It's
like
not-
almost 2 months.
Well, and if you had a system like the one and done, you'd have people actually try more. You'd have people really try.
Well, the disparity, so that is something that you like. There was a couple of years, I wouldn't say recently, they've been a little better, but there was a couple of years where, yeah, it was a 7-game series, but every game was a blowout, right? So, like,
Mhm.
one team wins by 30, then the
Yeah.
next day the other team wins by 30, and you're like, yeah, it was 7-game series, which sounds good on paper because it's back and forth, but all the games individually sucked. Like,
And that's the thing is,
Yeah,
when you look at that, when you go, okay, why was that game a blowout? And then why did the next week is it rigged? People like to think that it is.
some people do think that professional
Yeah.
sports are. I am too much of a fan to believe it.
yeah,
But-
me too.
I will say that
My wife is not.
every person I know that doesn't actually watch sports thinks they're rigged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was watching UFC with one of my buddies' wives, and she was like, "Oh well, that person won because obviously they were paid to," and I'm like, "No, this is MMA. Like, there's too much to risk to go into a cage and like let somebody punch you in the face 200 times.
Yeah.
They don't get paid enough. The athletes in MMA, they're not like other sports where they're millionaires. They make a couple $100,000 a year if they're the best, and then they have to pay their coaches. So and travel and all that.
Not just the coaches, all that stuff.
Yeah, and with the Reebok deal, now they can't go get sponsors for their shorts. Like, they have too much to lose to go out there and let someone dismantle them for real. But they're like, oh no, it's rigged. Like, that person just lost because it's rigged. I'm like, no, they got knocked out. They're like, they probably pretended. I'm like, that's not how this works. But
that's silly.
But there are people, no matter what, you can't convince them. Like, they're just like, in some way, it's rigged. Maybe not all the way, but in some ways, like, if you're not coercing the players, then it's the refs, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe the players aren't behind it in the NBA, but the refs know. Like, people think that.
Yeah. I can see that. I mean, I can see where they think that, but I also disagree. Too much of a fan. I can't get into it.
So you guys didn't tell me though. What are you guys doing now that there's no sports? Sean, you watch sports like legit every day because like when football's not on, you watch Canadian football, and when Canadian football's not on, you watch XFL. Like,
it's mostly football for sure. I'm really bad about, and the LA Kings suck really bad in hockey, so I have bunny ears, I don't have.
okay.
But I do use my in-laws' sling, so I have been watching some more random hockey games and stuff.
When they're on like NBC Sports and stuff like that.
They'll always have a game on, and I just forget that I can watch it,
Right. Yeah, I watched a lot out of any year in my life. This is the most hockey I've ever watched in one season. Like, I probably got to watch at least like 30 to 40 of the Penguins games this year.
Yeah, and I love hockey, man. I think
so. I got to go through the whole, like, we benched Murray. Like, we benched one of the best goalies in hockey. And it's just crazy because their farm system's so, like, Scranton. I don't know if you're familiar with, like, the Penguins farm system at all, but Scranton, they basically have a Penguin also, but he's, like, buff, which is weird that the minor league team is the buff Penguin, and then the professional team is, like, a regular-ass Penguin on roller skates or ice skates. But, yeah, I mean, every single one of their goalies that they've had, like when Fleury got benched for Murray, you're like, wow, our farm system must be good if we're just pulling this guy from Scranton and moving him up. And that literally same thing happened this year. Like, Murray goes down, and then we pull up another guy from Scranton, and he basically takes Murray's job. And it's like you almost have to give it back to Murray because of how much he's paid. But 6 of their best players got hurt. There was a point in time of the year where literally their 6 best forwards were all out, and they're still like starting to win games. And you're like, this is cool because the Penguins are basically the Yankees of hockey. They, in the offseason, they load up with all of the talent that exists on other teams.
So annoying.
Yeah. And then they just go after it. This year, all those guys went down, like every single one of them. And you're like, how are they going to win? And they just
play at the start of the year, right?
Yeah, but then he missed like almost like a full like month and a half.
Yeah.
And just literally the day he came back, he just absolutely went off.
Oh yeah, scored some. He had a hat trick, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but the best thing that could have happened to the team was him going down because they like figured out, oh, all of these young guys that we had in Scranton actually are pretty damn good. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the people who stepped up were just people they stole from other teams, but still though.
And the Kings are not the Kings
of old.
The Kings that went on that playoff run, won the Stanley Cup, and then fell apart the last 3 years are not. It's not the same team at all. They still got Brown, they still got Kopitar, they still got Quick. They got rid of my favorite player, Tyler Toffoli.
Mm-hmm.
But they got all these young dudes. They just won 7 games in a row just this past.
Before it got canceled, basically. Like,
yeah,
they got
before
hot.
it got canceled. They're in last place in the West. So
right.
They had an awful season, but they just won 7 games in a row.
Which is
freaking cool.
Yeah, which is super promising for like at least next season to see like, oh yeah, now everyone's stepping up. Like, as long as we keep these people on the team,
yeah,
we got a chance. And
Jonathan Quick, who has struggled the last couple years has just been getting these crazy ass saves.
Right, and he was like the prototype for a while, right? It was like, oh, now we need every goalie in the world to be like quick, and then that's kind of
Yeah, he set such a high standard that Stanley Cup year, and that's a thing during that Stanley Cup run that they did. He was injured he was playing hurt, and
right.
he had like the best year he ever had. So, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna play video games.
Yeah, so we watched Hunters. I think next weekend we're gonna watch The Hunt.
Did you finish Hunters already?
Yeah, I did. I finished it. Yeah.
You liked it?
Yeah, I did.
Didn't
Couple of things without spoilers. I would have done differently, but I liked it overall.
Okay. But then The Hunt came out this weekend, and that even to me that looks pretty good.
It looks awesome. We're gonna go watch it next weekend. I have too much stuff to do today, or else we would have went today.
You think the theaters are gonna stay open?
I'm hoping they do.
I was just
Otherwise,
talking today about how I felt bad for that movie for when it had to come out.
Yeah,
I was talking about that yesterday. Otherwise, what though?
Otherwise, I'm just gonna try to watch other shows. Honestly, to get the sports fill, I might try to go find some, just do some old 30 for 30s I've already watched, and maybe even go watch like old sports movies like Miracle.
Right.
Because I'm missing out on stuff right now. I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not watching the 2018 bracket. It's not
that's
happening.
so weird.
I don't care.
You
I already know what happens.
That already happened, yeah.
You're not getting ready for the draft at all, because like
No, I'll get ready for the draft.
it's still happening. Like free agency is still happening. I just don't want to watch an episode of Sports Center right now because it's like they talk maybe about the upcoming stuff, like the upcoming draft and free agency for like 15 minutes, and then they just go right back into talking about everything that's canceled. And it's just
so. Yeah, and
it's
that's how this last week, I watched Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen, and I'm so happy they're on YouTube. But honestly, I've been skipping the big show so I can just go watch like the cut down, because it's at least it's covering the highlights of it.
right.
But man, it's been rough. I love sports radio, and so it's hard to like listen to it. At least I've one thing I do love about this show is we knew prior to going in, like we'll talk about the other stuff that we're going to talk about. I think next week we should do a bracket of shows to watch.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and we can talk about how much toilet paper I have left.
Yeah, I love
Which
that.
will probably be one roll, and then I'll be panicking.
I'm very interested to see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll be taking a lot of showers.
Well, you have a bidet.
And a bidet to you, and a
But that's the
bidet to
thing.
you.
So are you saying you're gonna poop and then just get in the shower?
I don't want to talk about this on the air.
I mean, I don't know why you don't know. Just do what the rest of us do. Just poop in the shower and then smash it down in the drain like the rest of us.
Well, my shower's already pretty clogged, so.
I always have diarrhea, so I don't even have to smash it.
God, this show's disgusting.
Well, guys, this was a really good show today.
Yeah.
On that note,
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it.
Thank you, everybody, for listening to the show. I've had a great last 3 weeks with these gentlemen. We'll see you again next week. That's it. That's the way it's going.
We'll all be sick, but by then it won't matter because we're doing it on Zoom.
because we'll be shitting in the shower.
We might all be in quarantine by the next show, but at least then we can still do this because that's Zoom. It's wonderful. Zoom.us.
Zoom. Perfect for
Remember, make sure
pandemic.
to follow us on Twitter at QuackSwan, at HomeRunJack1987, at Derek on TSPN. Notice I changed our names a little bit on the. I saw what you did, Home Run Jack, and I was like, nah, I like that. Okay. So even I left Fleetwood Zach up there, and I still put your ad on there.
None of this translates at all to the YouTube, so I'll just go and add them.
Yeah. No, you do. You do what you want to do.
In post.
I'll fix it in post. It's fine.
But yeah, make sure you check out, if you watch the live show today, make sure you do check out our YouTube channel. This show will be up. It's been a blast. We have not gotten these shows on Spotify yet. We're still, I don't know what the hell we're working on something with that. We'll figure it out. As of right now, though, this is a live show that is a predominantly Facebook and YouTube show, and I'm actually pretty okay with that right now.
Yep, agreed.
Thank you, everybody. You have a great weekend. Go Warriors. Go. I mean, I don't even know if they're going to play. Also, I did forget to mention on the show the Lewis Clark State Warriors, the LC State Warriors, did win the Frontier Conference Championship game.
You bet.
That was
First time
hosted
ever.
at LC. So cool, so fun. It was a great game. They blew them out. It was a bad game for Carroll College, but
It's too bad. It's too bad the season had to end short because it's the best season in the history of the school.
yeah.
And they ended it by literally crushing their rival in the championship game.
Yeah.
But
And now I don't know if they're doing anything else now.
Nope, they won't. But I mean, what a high note to end on, at least.
Yeah. No, it was a great note. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. We will see you next week. Man, I had a great time. I had a great time today. Oh, also, music brought to you by Jody and the Fosters this week. Make sure you go find them on Facebook, like their page, smash that like and subscribe button.
Bang it.
Bang it.
All right, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Go Warriors.
No, it's just us.
Just us.
No, it's just us.
And there's no more pressure on us now. That's good.